5 minutes after 7. I'll open up the meeting of the Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals for February 8th, 2021 via our Zoom link. Present is Keziah Nezrela with his secretary or without, I'm not sure. Oh, he's muted, Charlie. Can we unmute Keziah?
No, it's his choice. Keziah, if you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead.
Now you better call your secretary. Yeah. We scampling it. All right, and present.
Here we go.
There he is.
All right, there you are. Hi, Keziah.
How you doing?
All right, good. We have Jerry Joy, AKA Elaine.
She used it the other night. I don't know what she did.
We have Bob Durgan, Pete Porcelain, Dan Passari, and myself with Alana. Present also was Joe Webby from Webby Engineering, Alan Diaz, and our town administrator, Charlie Seeley. I have 369 pictures. I don't have any more than that. Are we all good? So we're all good. All right. Let's see. Seeing at 7:05, we have a hearing for petition number 931, Robert D'Agostino of 596 Montponsa Street for a special permit and variance for a single-family dwelling. Is Mr. D'Agostino with us?
Yes. Yes.
How come I don't see Mr. D'Agostino?
Right there, under Kathy.
Under Kathy,
Yeah.
can you see that?
Probably on the next page, Bert. Can you swipe?
Okay, Gordon, Amy. Oh, under Kathy. Kathy, how
Yeah.
are you?
We'll get there.
All right, let's start off with petition number 931. Okay, how's that? Let me put that over here. The Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Monday, February 8th, 2021 at 7:05 p.m. via Zoom on the application by Mr. Robert D'Agostino to raise and replace an existing commercial building with a single-family dwelling at 596 Montponsa Street, Halifax, Mass. Said property is owned by Joan F. Cadigan of 596 Montponsa Street, Halifax, Mass. 02338 is shown on Assessors Map 19, Lot 78, title Reference Book C0007, page 1418. The applicant seeks a special permit to raise the existing home and construct a new single-family home, which would constitute a continuation of a non-conforming use, an alteration of a non-conforming use, and an extension of a non-conforming use, sections 167-8A, 8B, and 8C, as the project will be in violation of the setback requirements of the town of Halifax, section 167-11. The applicant seeks variances of the front setback from 50 feet to 23 feet, rear setbacks from 40 feet to 13 feet, and a left side setback from 30 feet to 3 feet. The area is zoned commercial. Petition 931. Okay, is Bob Picciarelli?
Yes. I'm here. Yep.
No, he said the building
Oh,
inspector.
oh, sorry.
I was looking for the building inspector. Is he with us now? Okay, anyway, why don't we start out with Mr. D'Agostino? Why don't you explain to us what we're doing, what's going on?
Okay.
Here with the property?
I will. I want to thank you for,
I understand, well, in the application, it says
Yep.
replace a house. This, actually, the house is the former
theater, the theater, the movie theater.
The yellow one there.
Yep,
This is located across the street from Our Lady of the Lake Church,
exactly.
right beside the strip mall there. All right, Mr. D'Agostino, why don't you explain to the board what you want to do here?
Yep. For the past 13 years, I've been trying to purchase this property for our house to live there. We've lived in East Bridgewater all our lives, and we work here. We own a company here. And only up till about 3 years ago, Mrs. Cadigan was in a position to sell this. And her son had passed away a few years back, and he was always going to do something. So we're trying to make the best out of the property. We're taking a 3,300 square foot building, existing foundation and building, and we would like to put a 1,680 square foot house in the footprint. We're asking for a variance. We've set back the front. It used to be 2 feet off the street. Now it'll be 23 feet off the street. The rear setback went from 40 to 13, or the bylaw is 40. And the side lot, if approved, there wouldn't be a side left lot 3 feet variance. There'd be 123 feet from the lot line at that point, because we're combining the 2 lots together. And that is a plan that you have in front of you, that you should have in front of you, that shows what we would be taking the line out, and we're going from 10,400 square foot lot where the theater is, and we're adding 17,000 square feet to the lot, making it 27,487 square feet total. So we're trying to take between Mr. Webby, myself, Rob, trying to take something that not trying to get just the theater approved by itself. We're adding the lot that I already own, which is lot 65. And like I say, adding that 17,000 square feet to try to take that and make something out of it for the town, the neighbors, and for ourselves. We have the conservations already approved, and with the order conditions. The Board of Health septic design has been approved by the Board of Health, subject to this building being built where it is. It works, I think. Of course, I think it works for everybody and everything. It's been a lot of work, and I've cleaned that property. It's from 2019 to all of 2020. The agreement with me, with Mrs. Cadigan, she's 90 years old, by the way, last week. And she just, she always thought her son was going to do something, but she knew that I always wanted the property, and that's how I've become becoming the ownership of the theater. But we've cleaned it totally up. It used to be a dumping site, which was no fault of too many people, but I've cleaned it all up, cleaned the water shore up, all around the building, tried to landscape it as much as I could until we got an order of conditions, and we would like the approval from the board. No one sees where it would be hurting anything, it would be helping, and anything that you'd like me to do, I'll do, but I think it's as nice as it could be. And it cleans up that non-conforming part for the future. Nobody down the road, it'll never be debris in the property ever again. 10 years from now, nobody's going to come back just for the theater to try to get it approved. And, I hope it makes sense to the board and to the townspeople. The neighbors have been super, because they've been putting up with it for such a long time. And like I say, Mrs. Cadigan was getting to the point where she was told, just like I was 12, 13, 14 years ago, keep the foundation in place, keep the part of the building in place, because the building was somewhere around 92 feet long when it was a theater. So we've scaled that down drastically. And she was just told, keep it up and pay the tax on it. And she's been paying tax to like as if it was a full-blown building. The taxes are inexpensive there to be sitting. So I hope has anybody gone to look and seen, or do they know the property? Anybody know the property besides Joe Webby?
Okay, let me let me read first here into the record, the letter from the building inspector.
Yep.
Dear Mr., this is dated December 30th, 2020. Dear Mr. D'Agostino, your application for a building permit to raise the existing commercial building and replace it with a single-family dwelling located at 596 One Ponce Street, Halifax, map 19, lot 78, owner Joan F. Cadigan, has been denied by this department based on the application for the following reasons. Your project would constitute a continuation of a non-conforming use, section 167-8A, an alteration of a non-conforming use, section 167-8B, an extension of a non-conforming use, section 167-8C, requiring a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The project will be in violation of the setback requirements of the town of Halifax, 167-11, requiring variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals of the front setback from 50 feet to 23 feet, the rear setback from 15 feet to 13 feet, and the left side setback from 30 feet to 3 feet. Additional, the doctrine of merger may apply if you wish to pursue this matter. The appeal of the building inspector's decision by filing an appeal to the Zoning Board of Appeals within 30 days of that decision. 2, apply for a variance and or special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Applications are available with the regulatory board secretary of the town clerk's office. Sincerely, Rob Picciarelli. Okay. So then, let me ask you a question now. As I understand it, the theater itself, we'll call it the theater, the yellow building, just for simplicity. There's a portion of the foundation that has already been raised on the building. Is that correct?
No, the foundation is still exists.
The foundation still exists, but is there a portion of the building that has been raised that's not on a foundation?
Yes. Yes.
And when was that raised or demolished?
Raised December of 2011.
2011. So that portion of the foundation has been left since 2013. Since 2011, nothing's happened with that portion of the of the rear building.
No, the foundation portion of it is still in place. Yeah,
it's still there, but the building itself has been raised from it since 2011.
Yes, and the front part is still on part of the foundation. The front part, the yellow part that you talked about, the front part.
Correct.
And what happened was the roof had collapsed. That would be where I believe all the benches, the seats were for the theater, and that was what collapsed. And they went down to the building department. I know that for a fact because I talked to the previous building inspector 13 years ago. I wanted to get a little information for the property, and she got permission to take that down. And they told her and told me back then, keep the foundation in place, which it did stay in place, and keep part of the building up. And the part of the building that's up now is still, it's been sitting along, 10 years, but it's still
has the
standing.
Building inspector discussed with you, Mr. D'Agostino, the fact that when that portion was raised, that that portion of the foundation has been abandoned for over 2 years now? Nothing's been rebuilt on it, on the portion of the foundation that was torn down in 2011?
He brought that to, I don't know if he actually said it's been down for 2 years, but we all knew, including himself, because something's on file that I remember that said it was taken down. That's how we got the information.
Right, but it's not. It's part of the zoning code that if it's been abandoned and nothing's happened to the foundation in 2 years, that
well, it's been vacant, not abandoned. Yeah, it's been vacant, other than the woman stores stuff inside of the building, but it actually wasn't abandoned.
No, I'm talking about the foundation itself. The
Yeah,
part that it was raised. Nothing's been built on that
No,
portion of
no,
the foundation
no.
for at least 2 years.
Yes,
Since 2011.
Yes, you're right, exactly. Yep.
Okay. Now, that vacant lot beside there.
Yep.
Beside the existing building. Are you the owner of that land right now?
Yes, lot 65. Yes. To the left of the building. Yes.
And when did you become the owner of that?
2019.
And on September of 2019.
And you are also the owner then of that lot 78, the lot that actually the yellow building, the theater building sits on.
No. That's separate, and that's Joan. That's in Joan's name, and Joan. And that's why I have it under agreement, subject to this plan being completed, and adding my lot to that lot.
Are there any other questions to members of the board that can maybe, to Mr. D'Agostino? Any other members have any other questions that need to be asked on this?
I do, yeah. So the merging of the two lots, has the process to do that already been started?
Me? You want to talk to me? Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been started. Yeah, the septic design is on my property that I own today, as subject to the zoning approving. The conservation is all one piece. We've kind of combined the two. There's a line in between the lot, and if you're happy with anything to do with zoning, we're going to take that line out and combine the two lots together.
Is the application to do that in process, or is that a plan for the future?
No, that's in your plan. The application. Yeah, it's in the application. We
And it's
submit
on
it to
the
you,
plans.
and it's on the plans. The second set of plans show the what we're doing.
Right. No, I guess my question is just the process to create one lot out of those two. Have you already applied for that? I think it's the planning board that probably needs to do that.
Joe, do you
All right.
have an answer for that?
Joe Webby here. We are prepared to combine the two lots, but obviously the deed would have to be
Right.
Conveyed from the Cadigan to D'Agostino. Until
Okay.
that happens, I can't combine the two lots.
Right, exactly.
And okay, yeah, I'm just asking if the process. I'm just asking about that.
Yeah,
We're ready to
I guess
do
the
that, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
we're ready to
Okay.
do that. Yep.
And then the setbacks. The only change, if those lots were merged, I'm looking at it, there's a lot of lines, so you can just clear it up for me. It looks like the only setback you would need is the side setback, and that actually increases once you merge the two lots together.
That would
right?
increase it. Yep, that 3 feet. The south side of the left side of the building, rear.
From the street.
Yeah, yes. We would be adding probably 123 feet to that, to the next
Yeah.
sideline, once that line is taken out. Yeah. So
And then
that
from the
3
street, it looks like you're increasing the nonconformity, right?
Yes.
You don't
It
need
used
the
to be about
setback.
2. Yeah, it used to be 2 feet off the street,
Right.
off the property line. Now
Now it's like 23.
23. Yes.
So if
All
anything,
right.
it's making it better.
And then we're making the sideline from north, we're adding 75, about 25 more feet we'd be gaining.
Okay.
Is it?
So, okay, Pete, if I understand this, maybe you can clear it because I'm having difficulty with it. If we grant the variance from of the side setback from 30 feet to 3 feet, and then they combine the two lots,
Yeah.
we have still granted the applicant a variance of 3 feet. So then, in effect, they still have a variance for 3 feet on the south lot line, even though now they've combined the lot and they don't need that 3 feet. We've already
And I don't,
granted a variance for it.
yeah, unless I don't know if we can approve it with the contingency that they merge
I
those
don't
two
think we
lots
can
together. I
either.
don't know if we can.
I don't think we can either,
Yeah,
because then after they combine the two lots, basically we're increasing the nonconformity by granting a 3-foot setback to now, which is a combined lot that they, in other words, they don't even need the 3-foot variance when the property is bought and purchased and combined.
Right. That's right.
right.
But
Yep.
already in effect, we've granted a 3-foot variance on that sideline. It's not like we can remove it, I guess is what I'm saying. We grant the setback for 3 feet, then they combine the two lots. We've already granted a 3-foot.
Yeah, they don't need it. Yeah, they don't need
And
it
they
anymore.
don't need it, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess it's a moot point, I guess, if they merge those two lots, but
It is, because they don't need it. However, by voting on this, we've already granted that 3-foot, from the 30-foot setback to 3 feet.
right. And is that what they applied for? I'm looking at all
Well,
these
that's
windows.
that's what Mr. D'Agostino just got through saying. He said, we're gonna purchase that lot contingent upon getting his variance from on.
Oh,
on
right.
his-
Yep. Okay.
It would be
Yeah,
better.
and they applied for it.
It'd be better in Mr. D'Agostino's interest that they join the two lots first.
Exactly. That would make so much more
With
sense.
a permit.
Because we can't,
Webby was saying he can't do anything unless the two lots are joined.
right,
Yes.
because that's my point. Then, bottom
I
line,
don't think he wants to purchase the lot.
Right.
if he can't do it, but that's not our problem. We're creating more of a problem than
Right. We want to make it,
I mean,
Now
it would be
you-
great, yeah. but we
It's actually
can't
an
take-
easier thing if he merges the lots beforehand. It's an easier decision for us. I mean, it's making the nonconformity better if the lots are merged. And the question then only is whether or not it's, the building stuff and the value and whether or not we want to vary that. It's not in that application either to vary the nonconformity and the 50% stuff and all that stuff that Rob mentions in his letter. So, I mean, I guess a special permit does it, but I'm talking in generalities here, but
I personally think that this is something we should run by town council before we grant a variance that's contingent upon the purchase of adding to the same lot.
yeah, and I guess the question I have is when you look at, so Rob in his letter mentions the 167.8, the 8ABC, which is all the non-conforming use stuff, and one of those is the I just have it over here. I've got all these windows open. We're here meeting virtually, but one of them is like the 50% rule, where you can't alter more than 50% of the value, and we'd have to vary that, I think, instead of just a special permit, and that's not in the application, unless I'm wrong, which I very well could be. But you with me on that?
I think we lost Bert.
Yeah, we'll get him back.
So it looks like a continuation. Is he there?
All right, there
There he is.
I just got kicked out. I don't know how I did, but I did.
Instead of getting Zoom bombed, we're kicking people out instead of adding them in. I guess that's better. I guess.
All right, so
if
anybody, any other board members see the same thing? I don't see how we can issue a variance and then take it back if they combine the lots.
But I don't think,
You couldn't, there's no way to subject to that lot line being taken out? If you.
No. No, once we grant the variance for a 3-foot
Well,
variance, then no, we can't say, well, we really didn't mean it, we're taking it back. No, we can't do that.
okay. No.
I mean, I guess we could vote to vary that. I mean, we could vote to do, if that's what we wanted to do as a board, we could vote to vary it down to 3 feet, knowing that, and we'd have to find the hardship to do that. I just worry that we have to vary the 167.8B, which is the non-conforming structure may not be altered if the cost of such alteration exceeds 50% of the real market valuation of the structure at the time. Which
There you go.
might be it's the special permit talks about that, but I think he needs a variance. I would assume he probably needs a variance based on what I'm looking at in the application. Yeah.
is this lot a commercial lot?
Yes. Business
He needs a
And
special
Bob-
permit.
So he needs a special permit in that zone.
and residential. Rob said that it didn't. Well, to me, he said it didn't either.
There is a house to the right-hand side, correct?
Yeah, it's residential.
Yep.
There is what, Bob? I'm sorry?
A house to the right-hand side?
Yeah, well, he had said that it was.
Yes, on the north
residential as
side,
well.
there is a residential home.
Right, okay.
Yep.
So you're gonna put your house on the existing foundation, is that what you plan on?
Well, no, inside that foundation, within that foundation, we're putting that, it's only going, the foundation today is 3,200 square feet. We're gonna be putting a 1,600 square foot house in the middle of it with a new foundation.
If you plan on joining the two lots, is there a reason why you want to put it there
There,
as opposed to,
that's what you said, the reason why I put it there? Is that what you said?
yes,
Yeah, because it seems to conform better there. When
I think-
everyone did their calcs and did, try to figure it out and plot it out, it fit in that footprint better than it
I
did.
think
in-
if you combine the two lots
Yeah,
and put the majority of the building on your existing lot, I think you'd be increasing or decreasing the amount of variances required. You'd actually be increasing.
see, that's a whole new thought, but I remember it just didn't seem to work in that lot, putting it perpendicular to the road. Or parallel with it, I should say.
If you change the orientation of the building, instead of having it going lengthwise front to back, you spin it 90 degrees, I think would fit. And your setbacks would increase. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
The other thing, Bob, is that in speaking with the building inspector,
Yeah.
where the theater, where a portion of the theater had been taken down, had been raised.
Yeah.
Even though that had been taken down, behind the structure that's still there, there has
Yeah.
been an abandoned amount of foundation to the building that has never been built on within the 2-year requirement set up by definition of abandonment.
Well, we don't.
He has
call
a
it
problem with that. I'm talking to Bob Durkin right now.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So whether under that section, and I think we even see some comments coming in that where it's been since 2011 that portion of the building has been taken down. There's a question as to whether or not you're increasing the nonconformity by now wanting to build on that portion of the foundation that's been abandoned since 2011. This is what I think we need town council's advice on, whether or not we can do that, and whether or not, if in fact we grant a variance, that's the portion that bothers me, from the 30 feet to the 3 feet. Once we grant that variance, okay, the applicant has the variances in hand. He's now going to purchase the other lot,
Right.
and we can't take back the variance now that he doesn't need it, even though he doesn't need it anymore. We've already issued a variance for 3 feet. It's I don't know, I have questions about it, or maybe I'm making it more complicated than it is, but it doesn't seem to think that, you know, we're not creating more problems than
Yeah, no,
By
we're just trying to
issuing-
fix a problem. So we're trying to
Yeah.
eliminate some problems. But like I say, it's a vacant, to me, it's not abandoned. I know what you're saying about the building being taken down, but it's been somewhat taken care of because the person still uses part of it for storage. But I mean, I clearly remember being at the building department. I don't know if it was
My other question is, with the existing boat ramp there, is there an easement on this property for the boat ramp, or is that,
No, it's all one piece.
it's all privately owned?
Yes.
There is no easement involved at all?
No.
Okay, when was the vacant lot there? When was that created? Was that not a part of the, of that parcel to the south of it that, you know, where the hairdresser is in that
Yes.
small strip mall?
I believe it was back years ago. I believe it was all probably one, you know, all one piece at one point years ago. But
I think it was 1968.
yeah, it's like 1968 or something
That they cut it out.
that they cut that piece out of there, out of the commercial building part. I think it was exactly 1968. We had the plans on everything when we bought it. Yep.
So Bert, just
Anybody else have any more questions or anything while we're pondering it? Jerry?
So just the definition of abandonment in the bylaws is the
Yeah.
visible or otherwise apparent intention of an owner to discontinue a non-conforming use of a building or premises, or the removal of characteristic equipment or furnishings used in the performance of the non-conforming use without replacement of similar equipment. So I guess it's what the non-conforming use was, I guess, is the question. So if the building had been used for a while in the same way, I guess that didn't stop necessarily 2 years ago if it's been going on
No,
for
no.
a long, long time. And I guess that's the question. I think we need to figure out the answer to that, what that non-conforming use technically is. Because if it's storage, that might be one thing. If it's movie theater, that might be.
But by building on it, you're now increasing the non-conformity of it, though. Even though it's been abandoned since 2011.
I really was under the impression way
Mr.
back.
Dexter,
right?
can you hold on one second?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking. It's another Bob there.
You see what I mean,
Sorry.
Peter?
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I guess what was the use of the land? I guess the question was it just is living on that different than? If I guess the question is if she was actively using that building for something, if that's an abandonment, and if that changed over the last 2 years, you know.
No, it was taken down in 2011.
Right. Or longer than 2 years, I guess is what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again,
And if there was a portion of it that is still being used, I guess is the question.
well,
And I don't
it
know.
had a commercial use. It was in a commercial zone. I do think a residential structure in a commercial zone is available by special permit.
It
You
is,
know,
yeah.
You know, just much like we did to the structure right beside it, where we had a combined use there. Oh,
Yep.
this was years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
You know, we put the residents above the
Yep. And
yeah.
the stores are down at the
commercial
bottom. Yeah.
residential. So,
Yeah, and I still think he needs the variance for the 50%, like the 180, 167 8C or whatever. And that's not necessarily in there, but there's some stuff that's outstanding that I think will make this a lot easier if it gets it all, together.
Right.
Hey, Bert,
Yes, Jerry.
Jerry, just one question. I think you're right about the variance for the 3 feet. If we grant that right now, say something happens and he can't buy that property, we've given him the right to build without buying that other property.
That's right.
I mean, through no fault of his own, but if something happened and the deal didn't go through, he could still build there.
Well, it's got a septic system on my lot, you know, and it's got a septic system on my lot, so that would,
Then a whole nother.
you know,
That's
that's
coming
another, that's another. I hate to keep adding things to it, but
Time out.
Oh, that doesn't help. That doesn't help.
But
yes, but-
time, right?
Mr. Chairman,
Josiah, you got anything? Again, too, I think, you know, for the variance, where you're putting a residential structure on a commercial piece of property, I think we also have to determine, in fact, if it meets the criteria for a variance, whether or not, first of all, well, the easy one, is it detrimental to the established character of the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Does it derogate from the intent of the bylaw? And I think there's an awful lot of questions, Pete, that you brought up, whether or not it's, you know, over the 50% rule. If in fact that portion of the foundation is that considered abandonment or not? And okay, now the third thing is the hardship. I'm having trouble with the hardship. It's what is the hardship? I mean, this, and again, the hardship is going to involve whether or not that vacant lot beside it does become part of the whole entire parcel for the single residential home. And if the variance and special permits are granted, then where are we, you know?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Basari, yes, sir.
you know, I went over there, I looked at it. Obviously, this is an improvement. I think it fits in with the neighborhood. I think it increases the value of everything in the neighborhood. But to be fair and to be consistent, not too long ago, someone was before our board looking to restore a damaged roof. And a big concern with us, and I think justifiably so, was the height of the roof. Do we know, because if I'm looking at the right pictures, there's one tall section on what's remaining. Are the plans that are drawn the same height as what's remaining?
As far as I know, in compliance with the Halifax building code, they can't exceed 40 feet. That's
Well, what's it, section C, 167.8C, I think it is. It says they can only change the roof line as long as it doesn't increase, the floor space, I think it says. And this was a big issue with us before, you know.
No, I remember.
I'm just trying to be equal and fair, because we did deny. Basically, somebody wanted to build a gambrel, basically, and add a second floor. Remember that? It wasn't too long ago.
it was added to the existing building. This whole thing is going to be raised.
Does that change it, though? I just want to make sure we're being consistent and we're
I think what you're referring to, Dan, is a restoration, which he's just raising, tearing it down, and rebuilding. So I think there is a difference there.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, he's talking about the 8G, which is the vertical extension of the non-conforming building. So it's the pitch of the roof line that they're talking about. Remember, I know exactly the application you're talking about. And it shouldn't expand the building horizontally, I think is what and can't create any additional floor area, but I don't know.
So you think what we were looking at before was just because it was a restoration from a building which was damaged and destroyed, where this is being raised, that doesn't apply here? I just want to be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, the truth of this whole thing is he could come in on just this lot and ask, I don't, on the lot, on that half lot without merging the two, he could come in and ask for a variance of the 50% rule and a variance from all these setbacks. And I don't know on that piece of land, which I don't know if he owns yet, on that piece of land, you could even build anything on that lot. And he could make an argument for hardship that he can't build because of the setbacks that he has, because that lot is so small. And it's the topography of the land with the water right there. I mean, there's an argument, but with the non-conforming use and trying to extend that inside of the footprint, I think opens up all these kind of very confusing pieces. You know, I don't know what just happens.
The grandfather status would be anything that would make it okay.
Right.
If you didn't have the for the entire foundation, then we have an issue, in my opinion.
I have no idea what this is.
I don't either.
Where is this coming from, by the way?
It's Amy Troop has been sharing various screens.
Why?
I've not been in communication with her.
Who's in communication with it?
I think she's been following along the conversation and trying to present plans and drawings related to the project as you've been talking about them. But I don't know, obviously, because I'm not in communication with her, but that's my guess.
Oh, all right.
I guess from my perspective, personally, I think that I mean, obviously, like Dan said, it's an improvement, right? So I want them to be able to find this solution, but I think that because of the lots being merged, they need a special permit definitely to be able to build this residential building in a commercial space. The bylaws say that. They need to vary the setback somehow, depending on whatever it is they're planning to do. And there's some piece of this there's a question to the non-conforming use. I mean, I guess they could build it without it, but and then there's that 50% of the restoration that they'd have to do if they're increasing a non-conforming use too. So it might be easier if they had both lots together and then made this case all at the same time, and it would be less variances, you know.
As opposed to, what's the alternative? If leave it the way it is now, and then if they do combine, or when they do combine the lots, once these say best case scenario, these variances and special permits are granted, and then what? You know, take them back or negate them?
Yeah, right.
And how do you do that? I've never done that in 20 some odd years.
What's the square footage of the lots when they're combined?
20, you want me to answer? 27,480.
So it still is not a buildable lot. I think the only way this can happen is if you're grandfathered in to the location is at, or smaller in that same location. We couldn't allow this.
Or they establish a hardship. Or they establish a hardship based on the topography of the land or the inability to build on that. I mean, you know.
Yes, but you can't.
Nothing could be unbuildable.
But I think we went through this with our attorney that you can't take the lot size into account. The size of the lot can't be part of the conditions of a hardship.
The actual dimensions of the lot, you mean?
Correct. So
topography is
the only
something
way,
else.
in my opinion, and I could be wrong, and maybe we should seek counsel on this, but it's either grandfathered in or it's not.
Mr. Webby, let me ask you a question. If the lots were not combined and they were just going to build, where would the septic system go? If the lots aren't combined, what are they going to do for a septic system?
Well, there's currently a cesspool to the north side of the theater. If Joan Cadigan came in on her own and wanted to just under Title V, revitalize that, we would, I'm not speaking for the Board of Health, but we would probably prepare some type of denitrification system and under Title V, build the best type of system we could on the 10,000 square feet of lot that she has. I mean, we do that down on Ocean Ave and down Milford Street all the time and around Lake Street and. where
Right,
you have
that's a
30 by 80
residential
lots.
structure. Those are residential structures with a residential system. This
Right.
would still be a commercial, it's a commercial zoned area.
Yeah, I think I got to go back to your original question. If I was just talking to Joan Cadigan, trying to go it on her own, then we would be obviously through the Board of Health first again, like we did with Bob D'Agostino, and we would come to some type of system that the Board of Health and the DEP would support. It may be, at worst case scenario, a tight tank, but if there's a building there and you grant some type of protection for that, then Title V has allowed septic systems to go in.
All right, well, let's get back then. Okay, what is the hardship? Let's get back. What is the hardship that would be granting these variances on? If it's not on the actual lot size, I'm not seeing, well, why don't you explain it?
I'm not sure I'm qualified to talk about hardships. I can talk about conservation and
Okay, well, Mr.
surveying and
D'Agostino,
engineering.
Yeah, I can try. The
well,
property
Mr.
like,
D'Agostino, we have to have one. There has to be a hardship.
okay, to grant the variance. Is that what you're saying?
That's
That's what we're
correct.
saying. Okay,
It's one of the criteria.
all right. The lots of information that I read, and Mrs. Cadigan was under the impression, just like myself, that the foundation to stay in. That was a point that I've heard recently from the departments. As the foundation's in, Bob, right? And I says the foundation's never been left. The front of the building was, at one point, it was going to be rebuilt. They've came to the building department in the past to rebuild it, and then as she got older and her son passed away, it wasn't going to be rebuilt. There's some kind of a proposal. So when we talk about so the variances, it's already the foundation's already in place. So we're going to work inside of it to take away if somebody went to her, if she went down there and said, I want to rebuild what I had there. Even, I know what you said about the two-year process, but this just makes more sense for that particular property. And for me to add my property, we have a sophisticated septic system that's approved by the state, it's approved by your town.
On which property?
On my boat ramp property. That's
Okay.
a whole, I have a plan. That's
So what
super
is, so
funny.
then what is the hardship again, Mr. D'Agostino? Other than, I'm not getting it.
Well, to rebuild that building, if like I said, if Mrs. Cadigan wanted to build just that building herself on 10,000 square feet, I guess my hardship would be is the variances, the footprint of the building. I don't know how to explain it. The footprint of the building, we're making it better than it was. So one way or the other, it would have a zone. The people would be at the zoning board of appeals. Whether she keeps that separate, I want to put it together to make it a better lot
Right.
for the.
Maybe one of the other members of the board, maybe I'm not explaining it correctly. Does somebody else want to try to explain, what, as far as the criteria for a hardship goes, we have to produce one? Can anybody help Mr. D'Agostino out here?
So Bert, we show you can't use a lot size as a hardship.
That's what Mr. Borsari said, yes.
I'm pretty sure that
Well,
was explained.
we're
in
not-
the site,
We're not sure, because I would consider that a hardship.
But
Well,
then,
there's a minimum lot size, so that can't be it.
40,000, which combined the two lots, he only has 27,000. I also have concerns, if you move the building, I think he can, decrease the amount of variance required for the setbacks.
No question, if they were combined, but they're
Right.
not.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? Can we find out?
I was hoping for some answers, Dan.
maybe this question will lead to an answer. Has there ever been a default on the taxes?
No.
I have no idea. I understood that the taxes were up to date. But
I pay 'em.
I personally
Because
have
to
not
me,
checked anything.
that's a big part of abandonment.
Okay, well, can I answer that
Mr.
question?
D'Agostino, hold on a minute.
Okay, yep.
I'll call on you. Hold on a
Okay,
second.
thank you. Yep.
So in my mind, that's, if an owner's paying taxes on it, they obviously have a use. I could see an argument for saying that it hasn't been abandoned if the taxes were never, if the taxes were always.
Yeah, but Peter, I think by definition, as he read, Pete read it, it's, what is it, Pete, exactly?
Apparent intention of an owner to discontinue a non-conforming use of a building or premises, or the removal of characteristic equipment or furnishings used in the performance of the non-conforming use without replacement of similar equipment. So I mean, it's super vague. And I think the question is whether or not her use over these past few years, like these past 11 years or whatever it was, is a continuation of a very general use.
Yeah, was she storing
Whatever
stuff?
that building is, right?
What
Which
stuff
you could
being stored in that?
use a building in a commercial district for a commercial zone for storage. That doesn't necessarily get rid of its commercial use, I guess. But
Right, that's my question, is it's pretty vague. I've read it 10 times.
I know.
Talking, the abandonment, and, what, were they doing something with that foundation? Were they using it for storage? Were they parking equipment in there? I mean, you hate to see a piece of property not being able to be used at its highest and best, not being able to be used to its highest and best use. The problem we have is we have we have bylaws that we have to follow.
And Dan, does it specifically say 2 years?
Hold on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So no
It does too.
non-conforming use which has been abandoned or discontinued for more than 2 years shall be reestablished. So I guess the question, I guess, is, and it's pretty vague, I think, on purpose. It's the intention of an owner to discontinue a non-conforming use. So if the intention of the owner was to no longer use that building in any capacity in a commercial zone, that would have to be shown. You'd have to show intent behind it. And I don't know, like I'm with Dan. I don't know if that non-conforming use is gone. I don't know if it is, because we've been very flexible on that in the past. But I also don't know if this application is enough. Like I think they do need a special permit to have the residential building in a commercial zone. But I think they also need to vary, and Rob mentioned in his letter, 167.8C, which is that, the 50%, which always seems to come up all the time. And that's definitely going to be, the alteration is going to be exceeding 50% of the real market valuation of the structure. But that's just re-advertising, I think. But the real question is what you brought up, Bert, which is, why would we vary a lot that we, based on merging those two lots when we're not seeing that in front of us? And I think that would help a lot of the argument to any variance if those two things were done. I know that puts a lot of pressure on the applicants.
Well, I don't know. I would suggest, I think it'd be my suggestion. I don't know how the other board members feel, but it would be my suggestion that we consult with town council for just those 4 reasons that you just gave, Pete. Bottom line regarding granting the variance on the separate lot before it gets combined. Where we'd be issuing to vary the side setback from 30 feet to 3 feet. And then once variances are combined, then they're no longer needed. But nevertheless, we have still created a 3-foot side setback,
And I guess, is the non-conforming use already the 3 feet? I got to open up the
fact that it's non-conforming, that even if the two lots were combined, it would only be 26,000 square feet.
Right, but is the house within the footprint of the original building?
Yes.
So I mean, I guess they don't need. I guess it's within the non-conforming use,
Yes.
right? So it's a continuation of that. I guess they don't necessarily need that variance since it's already happened. Does that make sense?
This is on the vacant lot you're talking about.
No, on the
theater.
because the house is on the lot with the building. So what they've done is put the building inside the footprint of the former use, which is the building, right? Is there a building there now?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's what.
There's
Yes,
part of
it's
the building.
It's an old theater.
So I guess it's the alteration of.
Right, and again, the alteration exceeding 50%.
Right, and there's no variance for that, yeah.
And
But
there's no,
it is, I mean, I guess they don't necessarily need, they need the special permit. And part of that, I think, would be, they're not increasing necessarily the non-conforming use. Because they're within the footprint of the original building. It's just a question of A, whether it was abandoned, and B, whether or not, that there's a question of whether or not that use has been continued. But
so then, Peter, if it fits within the non-conformity, where's the hardship?
well, I mean, they're not increasing it, so I guess they don't need. I guess they don't need that 3 foot. Somebody else can clarify this. Maybe I'm off base, but I guess they don't need the 3 foot variance since they're not increasing the non-conformity. They're actually making it better because they're decreasing the side setback, or they're increasing the side setback.
I think, Mr.
If they
Chairman,
combine the lots, they are, right.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need what you said, town council.
Yeah.
But I think this all hinges on is the location on the lot the building is on. Is that location grandfathered in? If it's grandfathered in, he's good to go, really. Just buying the other lot gives them more room. If that location's grandfathered in, then there's really
It's true. Yeah.
there's not a lot of issue here. I think that's what we need to find out.
So it's the grandfather status of the
Existing foundation,
of the theater lot.
yeah, of the existing foundation, yes. Because he's making that smaller, if I understand this correct. So he'd be
Yes.
making it less, let me say it right, less non-conforming, which is a good thing.
Right, exactly.
So I think that the whole thing hinges on that alone, unless I'm missing something.
I don't know about how the other members feel. I think we really need to go out on an inspection on this one, to take a look at this and I would like to, as we have done in the past also, have it staked out so we know where the size and the location of the buildings is going to be, and to be able to walk out there and actually see it, because it's exceedingly difficult, especially granting variances on parcels that we hope are going to be joined into at some future date. I don't even know if we can do that. And again, I'd like to get as far as the alteration, Pete, I'd like to get a specific answer on that.
Yep, I'm with
from town council. So, yes, I'm sorry.
Bert, looking at this a lot of land, he doesn't even own this lot where the house is going on.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So he's asking for something that he doesn't even own completely.
Yes, yes.
Well, we're under agreement.
And then if the variances are granted, Jerry, just, like I said before, best case scenario, let's just say they are granted, and then he's going to purchase the lot, and then we don't need all of the variances that we had already previously granted.
Correct.
I know.
Well, no,
I definitely want to run this by town council. It's beyond.
Some questions in there.
Yeah, I don't think we can approve something that he does not own.
However, Jerry, in the same breath, he has included in his packet where a letter from Mrs. Cadigan that says he does in fact represent her.
Okay.
Yeah, she's included in the
But
application.
again, Jerry, it doesn't say anything specific here, so that other than Mr. D'Agostino saying, well, if I get the variance, it's contingent upon me buying it, you know, and he would combine it. Like you said, we've never done that before.
I know.
Not as far as I know. I think we should do that. I'd like to have the, yes, Mr. D'Agostino.
Yeah, I am under agreement with that other lot, a purchase agreement, and I have been for two years. Last year, we really had to get the plans all together. So,
Is it contingent upon the variances?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know of anybody that would ever purchase the property if it was conforming and there was no reason to come to the zoning board of appeals, there would never be a question about what it would probably already have been purchased. But it's because there's variance involved. That's that threshold of agreement that I made with the family. But I know the deals, the problems that you're having, but I don't understand why we couldn't, if it was the 3 foot, that line, if you somehow subject to, if you gave variances on the other 3 items or 2 items that you have in question, and I know that Rob had said that it didn't matter. It didn't matter. This was work. Didn't matter to him if it was residential or business. He calls it business and not commercial, by the way. Every time I said commercial,
It's business. It's business.
okay, but that's yeah, that's what he always said. Business, residential. He didn't care one way or the other if it was a business there, a business in that area, if everything met the criteria, or residential, and that's why we kept going forward. Because all
Right,
these,
but our bylaws state that, Mr. D'Agostino.
Okay,
That's
yep.
in our bylaws. That's
but
what
if
we
it's
have
the
to go
3
by.
foot, if it's the 3 foot for the line, I mean, if that got approved, you know, through however you could do it.
All right,
With that line, I'm going to purchase the property to solve that 3 foot in
All right,
between
well,
that property line.
before I ask a vote on the members of, as far as having run this by our town council, is there anybody else, any members of the boards or anyone else? Charlie, anyone else there that wants to speak on this?
I mean, there are people here. I haven't been regulating the mics.
All right, I see Mr. Diaz there. Alan, you have any?
No, I don't have any comment.
Okay.
Point.
You weren't on mic, so that's why I wanted to. Yeah, Charlie, I see everybody else is muted here, unless there's somebody signaling you.
No one's signaling me either by raising a hand or in the notes.
Okay. All right, then. What I'd like to do is I'd like to see if get a motion to relay this information and get town council opinion. If I could have a motion regarding that for petition number 931 and a second, if there's one available.
I'll motion to reach out to town council for clarity on petition is it?
931.
Just have it over 931.
Yep. Regarding the non-conforming use, in fact, if it still exists, Pete, is that all right?
Yep, about the non-conforming use, the abandonment question.
Yep.
And the 50% valuation question that applies, and if they need a variance for it.
And whether we need a special permit in the for a residence in a commercial /
Commercial zone, which I think we do, but she can clarify that too. She knows
Also,
better than me.
the lot size for hardship.
Yep.
Yes, we do in the lot size. Yes, I do have hardship lot size. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of consulting town council regarding the issues that were just enumerated by Pete, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass. Any opposed?
Bert,
Pass. Yes, sir.
because you're doing an electronic meeting, you need to do a roll call vote.
Okay, all right, I'll do a roll call. Kasia, we're gonna do a roll call vote on that, please.
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Dan, how are you voting on that?
Well, I'm not voting, but I agree. That's a good idea.
Okay, and myself, yes. Passes unanimous. In the meantime, gentlemen, how do you guys feel about, do you want to get the opinion back first and then we'll do the site inspection and maybe we'll have less snow? we won't be trudging through. Or do you want to do that now so we know, have a visual in our minds of, exactly what we're talking about for our next meeting? It's up to you guys.
We can do the site inspection in the meantime.
You think that would be a better idea?
Yeah, yeah.
That's Mr. D'Agostino, that's a common practice. We do go on a site inspection, and what we do require, if you could stake out the property so we could see, where the house was, where the variance line, just stakes in the ground, nothing to scale or anything.
No, I have a great idea.
Mr. Webby knows what we look for in those.
It'll be close. Yes.
That'll be great. You want to schedule it now, guys, for before our next meeting? We usually do it the Saturday before our next meeting. Alana, what do we got for a date on our next meeting?
Hold on one sec. It is March 8th.
March 8th. Alana, what's the Saturday before that then?
So the 6th.
7th, the 6th?
Yep.
How about March 6th, guys? How's that look for you?
Sounds good.
Mr. D'Agostino, will that give you enough time to have it staked out by March 6th?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Okay, what time, guys? What time is good?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock? Is that good with everybody?
Yep.
Saturday, March 6th, 9 a.m. For a site inspection. Okay, I'll ask for a motion and a second to schedule the site inspection for March 6th at 9 a.m. If someone could make that, please.
I'll make a motion for petition 930 on-site inspection on March 6th at 9 a.m.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Second.
So I have a motion and second to schedule the on-site inspection for March 6th at 9 a.m. on Saturday. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. I'll do a roll call vote. Kasia?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Jerry, I almost said Elaine. But I didn't do it. I did not go there. Bob Durgan?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Myself, yes. And Dan, are you voting on that? Good? Just your opinion, good? Passes unanimous. We'll do this on-site inspection at 9 a.m. March 8th. Mr.
Bert?
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think,
sir.
The applicant has his hand raised.
Oh, Mr. D'Agostino, yes, sir.
Yes. Would you mind if I was there?
Oh, certainly, yes. Absolutely.
I'm not the
No problem at all.
I can, any questions, and I'd have the plans and everything with me too. And I know the
That would be
property
awesome.
better than,
That's great.
not as good
Thank
as
you,
Joe,
sir.
but I know him.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we need to continue this?
I'm sorry?
Do we need to continue this hearing?
Yeah, it's going to be continued to, actually, it's continued to March 8th.
Do we have to vote that?
March 6th at 9 a.m. And then we'll schedule it for the next monthly meeting, which would be March 8th. We'll work that out with Alana if we can get it on at 7 o'clock or 7:05 or whatever. Okay. Mr. D'Agostino, thank you so very much. Mr. Webby, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next petition, but I'm going to need about a 5-minute break if I could. All right, we'll come back at 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
The 8:18.
Yes.
Everything will still be on.
All right, thanks, Charlie.
I think I'm gonna win Whitman tomorrow. That's what I do.
You know that, you saw that.
Sure.
What's that?
What's the bulk of the storm gonna be over? Can you look it up? Maybe 7. I'll be over. No. Oh, good Sam. Let's see this.
We'll do that. Well, I just did that.
I don't care if you do.
No.
I guess I don't know. I withdrew it, but I want it. No, it's the COVID testing stuff. They want to cancel that. Take my break.
Alana, you there? What the heck was that? Alana, what do you have, a horn now and a signaling system? Guys, do we need to make a motion to continue that petition 931 till the March 9th thing, or the fact that we have the on-site and we already continued it?
We can do it anyway. I think.
Yeah.
When we
Why
continue.
All right, well, I'll accept the motion then to continue to that. That's
Somebody's getting text messages.
Not me.
all right. How about a motion then to continue petition number 931 until the March 8th hearing?
I'll make a motion to continue petition 931 until March 8th.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned in second. I'll call for a voice vote to continue that petition number 931 until our next monthly meeting of March 8th, 7th. And they'll set up a time with Alana, so it's a time uncertain. Jerry,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
myself, yes, and Dan, yes.
Yes.
Oh, motion passes unanimous. I'll make sure that Alana gets notification of that. All right, everybody back, everybody happy? Let's move on to our petition number. That was 927. Yes, petition number 927. The Halifax Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing was on Monday, November 9th, 2020, 7:15 p.m. via Zoom on the application by ADGA Realty LLC for a special permit to construct a horse barn located at 0 Walnut Street, Halifax, Mass. Said property is owned by ADGA Realty as shown on Assessors Map 98, Lot 1, Title Reference Book 29865, page 225. The applicant is seeking a special permit to construct an approximately 2,964 square foot barn, 78 by 38, including a second floor according to the plans, on an existing parcel to stable horses for agricultural purposes, with a front yard setback of approximately 853 feet, side setbacks of approximately 439 feet and 711 feet, and a rear setback of approximately 347 feet. This would be in violation of section 167.12F4 in the agricultural residential district, as it is greater than 884 square feet in accordance with the zoning bylaws of the town of Halifax, area zone residential, petition number 928. And we have, speaking to this, is Mr. from Outback Engineering. Charlie, can you unmute him, please? There he is. How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Very good. Okay, what have we fixed?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Our last meeting, there was several areas regarding all kinds of things, septic and whatnot. Where are we with that?
Yeah. So when we last left off, the big issue was the questions about the septic. Since then, I met with the Board of Health regarding the septic system, and we've come to an agreement that we can permit this as a shared system between the two lots, provided that we meet all the requirements of Title V. And it can go into those various requirements in Title V, but it deals with the legal operations and ownership of the system, setting up financial agreements to take care of the system, maintenance, and all that stuff. So
now, have you done that, or
we're in the process of doing that. We haven't finished it yet, but setting up all that legal stuff is taking some time. The plans have been updated. So we're hopefully going to get that into the board this week with all the required legal and financial obligations that are required in Title V to create a shared system in the two lots.
So if I understand correctly, then the lot that the septic system is going to be on is going to be completely separate. It's not going to be owned by the applicant.
No, it's not. But there will be an agreement between the two lots to maintain the system, both legally and then easement wise. And also there'll be a financial agreement that will be put in place to maintain it. And that financial agreement's either like an escrow account or an insurance policy, so that if the system were to ever fail and neither of the two properties would be able to maintain it, the escrow or the insurance policy would cover the repairs to the system and maintenance of the system. But that's all all the stuff that's required by the Title V requirements for a shared system. And we'd have to meet all that stuff to get any sort of an approval through Board of Health.
All right. So where does that leave us then? What do you need from the board then?
So we just, we're looking to get approval of the special permit, pending us getting the shared system approved from the Board of Health. Otherwise, we can't use the septic system. I mean, if we can't use the septic system, I guess I don't know, we could tie into the septic without getting the approval from the Board of Health.
Well,
we could still use the building per se. It's just we wouldn't be able to use the septic or the sanitary facility.
Right, but you're talking bathrooms, showers, laundry. Remember, we went through all that at our last meeting. So, I mean, how do you go about that without an approved septic system? How would we do that?
Well, I mean, the septic is the approval is through the Board of Health, correct? For the approval for the septic system, not necessarily a special permit.
Anybody else have any other, did we get a letter? Did we request information from town council on this also? Was there, I have a letter here from Amy Quessel dated, or sent to Mr. Picciarelli and Charlie Seeley regarding the agricultural exemption. Have you spoke with Mr. Picciarelli regarding that?
No, I haven't personally, no. I think that was a possibility to use the agriculture exemption, but we're not. We're just seeking the special permit through the ZBA.
All right, yes, because there are, as long as they meet the criteria, and that's all that's being looked for as far as the special permit goes. Ms. Quessel referred to that in her letter, that therefore is my opinion that the property owner should apply for a special permit whereby the Board of Appeals could determine if the oversized barn is not detrimental to the established or future character of the neighborhood. See section 167-21-2. Did we go through all that, Pete?
I think so. Did you reapply? Is that what? After that email, right?
Did we reapply for what?
Well, see, so the application is dated after that email. I'm saying October 2nd. And it said 167-21-2. Trying to find where I'm.
We haven't reapplied. We've just continued the.
Okay. Let me find that down. There's so many windows. Sorry. There we go. Oh, in the extension, yeah.
Yeah, her letter was dated October 8th, if that helps, 2020. Does that help you answer your question, Pete? Alan, as far as the Board of Health went, if do you have any concerns regarding this? I'd like to speak on it.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the board sat down with Outback Engineering engineer Matt, and we determined that the proposed plan, or our conversation was that the proposed use of the building, because it was connected to the original property and there was enough capacity in the original septic system, that we would in fact consider allowing them to utilize the shared system provisions of Title V. When they did come in, they didn't have any plans at all. They had some proposed plans by another engineering company. To date, I haven't seen anything on paper that's going to show how they're going to make this connection. One of the plans that they did show some existing septic components that had not been installed. So we wanted to see new plans, how they were going to connect the new building into the existing septic system. And then, as the engineer from Outback said, Matt, there are provisions where we can utilize the shared system components of Title V. They're very extensive. It requires maintenance agreements. It requires detailed plans for access, maintenance to the facility. It does require an escrow account. So even though we have kind of the same owners, the two different entities break it up. So it's something that is allowable. But again, we have not seen any plans as of yet. And obviously we're not going to approve anything until we see not only the plans, and then once the plans are approved, then I would suggest that he would now go into executing the very lengthy agreements that requires the shared system.
Well, how's the rest of the board feel, as far as voting on the special permit or waiting, in fact, to see, we can't make it contingent upon approval from the Board of Health. What's the feeling of the board?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, before you told the board, one of my concerns is looking at the plans is that you've got bathrooms, you've got offices, you've got people that are going to be there all the time. I believe there was 2 bathrooms, 1 office, laundry room. To attempt to approve this without knowing where all that effluent is going to go is a little problematic to me. I mean, that's obviously your board's decision, but you know, we as the Board of Health need to know where that effluent is going to go. The size of the building is immaterial to us, but based on the plan, it might be to your advantage to know where that stuff is going to go before you approve it.
Gentlemen, what do you think?
Will they be able to get a, sorry, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we have to approve the plan presented to us, and it shows the bathrooms, the laundry, and all that. And you know, if we approve the building, that stuff is in there. And you know, I'd like to know where the water's going. I think you should get the approval for the septic first.
Jerry?
Yeah, I was going to say, does Matt think he can have all this approved before our next meeting?
I
We're
would
getting
hope.
down to a deadline here. You know, we do have to vote on it based on the information. Only the information we'd have would probably have to decline it, Matt, unless we know certainly what we're voting on. And, you know, and that's why you had provided us with a one extension, but I'd have to double check with Alana because we may be getting down to the wire here where we have to vote on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to update the septic system plans. I mean, they're in the works. We've met with the Board of Health, and I understand Mr. Diaz's concern. We're going to address everything on there with the shared system application. It's just a matter of getting all that stuff put together, and you know, there's a lot of stuff outside of the plans and in the legal and the format that we have to put it together. That the plans are done, but I didn't want to submit plans to the board without all the stuff that goes with it. And that's the reason we haven't submitted everything together. You know, the plans for the shared system septic system are done. It's just a matter of getting all the legal agreements together and executed, which is taking.
How much time do you think you're going to need, Matt? Do you think you can do it by next month?
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping we were hoping to get the rest of the stuff into the Board of Health this week. To get the application, rolling with the Board of Health in terms of the shared system application.
Well, Peter, what do you think?
I mean, I guess, so will they be able to get a building permit if their septic stuff isn't approved by the Board of Health ahead of time? I mean, I think they wouldn't be able to build it unless they got that approved, right?
I wouldn't think so either.
Right. So, I mean, I guess.
Alan, would you know that?
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, they cannot. They cannot. Somebody else talking? They can't build a building on the building permit. I disagree a little. There's an echo. I disagree a little bit with Matt. I don't know. I disagree a little bit with Matt. Documents in prior to approving the plan. I know that if I represented that client, I would get the plan approved, and then they've got the ability to execute the documents after that. To execute the documents prior to the plan approval doesn't make a lot of sense. That's his call. The permit would not be issued unless we did have an approved septic plan with water, knowing where part of the water is coming from, and a septic plan approved.
And I guess that's to my, like in the 40B, we're acting as all of these different organizations, right? So I guess I'm echoing.
We're echoing again.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's feedback from somebody else. In like the 40B, we're acting in the role of all these other boards, but for us, I mean, I think me personally, I'm comfortable with the plan of the building itself meeting the garage and barn bylaws that we have and giving them the special permit. Like if if somewhere else it will get held up if they don't have that sewerage stuff approved. I personally, like, I can't speak for anybody else, obviously, but I personally am comfortable with the building, knowing that it will get stopped if they don't have their septic stuff approved elsewhere. And like, I don't normally, I wouldn't know enough to ask in a typical special permit if all that stuff will be in place. I mean, I guess I get we want to make sure it's going to meet that before we approve it, but I don't know.
Well, I think I agree with you, Pete, to be honest with you. Like you said, I'm not speaking for the board, but we did have the neighbors call in. We did speak with Matt prior to this about how it was not going to be used on a commercial basis, that our approval would be contingent upon, as Matt was saying, their own personal use. It wouldn't be renting out stalls and all that thing. And then that was the issue of the two full bathrooms, the showers, the laundry area and whatnot. Then that brought up the concern about the septic. So I don't know. I think in the same breath too, we can't make our decisions contingent upon approval of the Board of Health. So I don't know. I think there should be a request submitted that we put off continuing the meeting to the next hearing. I don't know why we're echoing like that, but we are. I don't know why. Matt, how do you feel about that? Could you like to request to continue this to next month, because it's obviously not going to get. You've heard the opinion of the board members regarding a complete package before they decide to vote on it.
Yeah, I just had a question.
Who had the question?
Matt did.
Yes, Matt, go ahead. Yes, Matt.
I think he's having some issues.
We're having problems with his audio.
Yeah, I think it's Matt's that's causing feedback. Yeah, Matt, we can't hear you at all. Yeah, come on. We can't hear you. Matt, you're broken.
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you at all. I don't know what to tell you there, Matt. You're not coming. You're not what's the feeling of the board? You think we?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Mr. Chairman, who's calling Mr. Chairman?
It's Matt with Outback Engineering.
Okay, that's much better. Yes, sir.
Okay, I just turned off my video feed. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
Did.
Much better. We can actually hear you.
I just have a question. A question. If there was no septic or involved in this barn application, would it be the special permit be voted on and likely approved? I mean, if the only thing is holding up the approval is the septic, and the septic approval is based on the Board of Health's, sign off and permit process, just kind of just a question as to what the zoning board requirement for us to have Board of Health approval prior to voting on it. Maybe I didn't say that. I don't.
Well, Matt, I can't speak for everybody. I mean, you attended the meeting. You've heard the opinions of the different members of the board. But bottom line, with the contingencies that we put in there as far as commercial personal use only, and it sounded to me, even your neighbors who spoke up in favor of it, again, it sounded like without a complete package, it'd be hard to vote on it without full knowledge of what we're voting on, which includes the septic system. gentlemen, did I express that correctly, or is someone like to add to it, Jerry or Bob or anybody? Kasai, you've been quiet on it. Oh, we lost Dan. But anybody else? I mean, that's just how I feel. I don't know how about the other members feel. I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
No, I think everything else seems to be fine. The only thing we don't know is the septic system. And if we can't make that a condition, then I don't see how we can vote on it.
I mean, without a septic system for something like that, I mean, that's pretty detrimental to the neighborhood, I should think.
I agree.
Well, without a septic system, it'd just be a barn. It'd still be a functioning barn. Aesthetically from the property, it would still function. It would still, you could still have utilities and it'd just be a barn. It just
Absolutely, Matt. I agree with you 100%, but that's not what's in front of us. What's in front of us is a laundry room, a couple of bathrooms, a full shower, and that running water. That's what's in front of us. That's what we have to vote on. I mean, like you said, yeah, if it was just a barn, I get a pretty positive feedback if I was you, but that's not what's in front of us. And that's the way I feel. I mean, gentlemen, if you disagree with me, please jump right in.
I agree. I agree with Bert. I think that, there's a lot of positive feedback we've gotten about the project, but we also now have an application for a special permit that's going to create a conflict with another board based on the plans that we've seen. So, I think that any scenario where we've been given a special permit application that's going to create more issues based on approving it causes a little bit of pause. I think that's what the issue we all have.
Right, Peter, and Pete, correct me if I'm wrong too, but I mean, like the boards, Mr. Diaz is right there. We've always worked together on this thing. If we pass something here and just said, okay, Alan, here you go. We just dumped this big problem in your lap. Now it's all on you. It's got nothing to do with zoning. I don't think that's right. We've never done that in the past, and I don't think we should adapt that kind of policy. I'd rather work with the Board of Health and have it all straightened out as opposed to, throwing sticks and stones. Has never seemed to work for me. Call me crazy.
Right. Is the system designed yet?
The system is designed. The system didn't change. The field didn't change. Nothing in the system really changed other than there's going to be a new pump that will go to a new pump chamber that will tie into one of the existing pump chambers. So the field design stayed the same.
Being another month, wait another month so we can get all the right documents and everything put together so we can vote on this thing. Voting on a bond by itself is fine, but voting on a bond without the septic system is not acceptable. I won't feel comfortable with it because what are you going to do with the water? What are you going to do with all this? That you're going to have an office, you're going to have two toilets, and you're going to have a washroom. We have to know all that stuff before we go vote on it.
So Matt, that's pretty much you've heard the position of the members of the board. We'd like to would accept a request to postpone this to continue to our next meeting if that's acceptable to you.
Sure, I guess, yeah, we could do that. Just, if we get the application into the Board of Health and it's still in process, it hasn't been approved by the next meeting, even though, the full application is in. Are we going to get continued again, or is it?
Yes. In my opinion, yes. Unless a complete system and everything is in front of us, or, we would ask for continue. It's certainly your prerogative. You could say, no, I don't want to continue it, in which case I think you've pretty much got the feeling of the board members. How would we vote without the septic system approval from the Board of Health? I think that's pretty clear, but that's your option. You wouldn't be forced into doing a continuance to our next meeting. But I think you've attended the last couple of meetings. I think you have a pretty good feeling how the board feels.
Okay, I understand that. We will
All right.
stuff in and hopefully it will be approved by our next meeting.
All right. Matt, I'd ask you then if you could send a letter to Alana and request that you'd agree to postpone your or continue to our next meeting of March 8th for schedule.
I
And in the
can
mean-
send the letter of agreement for extension to Matt, and he can just fill it out.
That would be great. Alana, because I really don't know how we set for time on this particular application.
The application was submitted November 9th, but there have been two 30-day extensions, one on the 30th of December and then another on January 21st. So
Okay, we're good.
just going, yeah, we're good for another couple weeks anyway.
All right. Well, Matt, if you could send that off, or Alana, you could get them those forms that would email them to Outback Engineering. That'd be great. And I'll accept a motion then to continue petition number 927 to our March 8th meeting. Someone
Make
like
a
to make-
motion to continue petition number 927 to our next meeting of March 8th.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, I'll call for a voice vote. Kasia,
yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, we'll continue it then to our March meeting. Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we can start zipping through the rest of our agenda and we'll get out of here. It's quarter of, what do we have? Minutes. The minutes for January 11th, 2021. Anybody read them over? Anybody have additions, deletions, corrections? I read them over the first round. I didn't find any myself, but I don't know if anybody else has.
Seen either.
I'm sorry, Jerry, what'd you say?
I didn't see any either.
Oh, okay.
I'll
How
make
about
a motion.
then?
I'll make a
Yep.
motion to accept the meeting minutes of January 11th, 2021 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as of January 11th, 2021 of the Zoning Board of Appeals. All those in favor say aye. We'll do the voice vote. Kasia?
Yes.
I meant the individual roll call vote. This is Jerry,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
myself, yes, passes unanimously. Okay, how do we move on to the minutes of January 13th, 2021? I didn't see anything with them either, Jerry. I don't know about you, if you found anything.
No, that was a long one.
I mean, I do see the school principal with a red pen in his hand, so that may be correct.
I have no corrections. None. Motion to accept the minutes of January 13th with no red pen.
Do I have a
That's
second?
right.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and a second to accept the minutes of January 13th, 2021. I'll do a roll call vote. Kasia?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
And myself, yes, passes unanimously. Alana, how do you want to do the bills? We'll just take a vote that we accept them and then I'll come up and sign off on them. What do you want to
Yes.
do with it?
They're actually already printed on my desk for you to sign, so just if you can accept them, that would be great.
Okay, we got Plimpton Halifax Express for $84. Gillen Associates, an invoice dated 1/16 for the traffic study on our peer review. That was for $320. That was Country Club Estates, by the way. And then we have Pitney Bowes Postage, the revolving account for $300. Any problems with any of them, gentlemen?
Nope.
No.
Okay, how about a motion to pay the bills, the three that were presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the bills as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second Those in favor, say aye. Kasia with a roll call.
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Passes. All right, correspondence. Alana, the correspondence, those are just notifying us that the planning board has an application in front of them from Scott Casagrande, 311 to 313 Plymouth Street regarding a personal garage, an updated site plan. Is that all?
Yes, I sent you guys in an email the plans. If you had any comments or anything like that.
Okay. And also regarding Bud's Goods Marijuana Facility, 111 River Street, was just a site plan. And
It's an application for a special permit and site plan review. The special permit falls with the planning board. So again, I sent you guys the application, the plans and everything that was forwarded to me. So if you have any comments on that for the planning board, I can forward them along.
Okay. We'll take a look at that, gentlemen, when you have a minute. All right, other business, Talent Bank. We did get an application from Pamela Engstrom, who said she would like to be considered for a position or as an alternate or as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have, Alana wanted to remind us again, conflict of interest forms and certificate. Get them done as soon as possible. Anybody turn them in already? I haven't done mine yet, so.
Yeah, I have.
We do have to get them in. And our information request form. You guys take a look at that one. How'd you like that one? The information request form. I think Alana did a nice job with that. Anybody have any deletions, changes? We can forward that. We can forward that off to have them take a look and see if there's any other feedback that needs to be done on it. I kind of liked it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just the Board of Health, and I just kind of changed the top, really. I don't get any credit for that whatsoever.
Take the credit.
You get credit anyhow.
What about all that stuff that we went through on our last meeting? Didn't we go through with the access to the? Oh, we're gonna do that later on then. That's down the road. We're working on that one. All right. Hey guys, that's all I have. Anybody have anything else? Any new business? Anything they want to discuss? How about a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
And do I, in a second?
Second.
All right, I'll go by voice vote. Kasia?
Yes.
Elaine?
Yes.
Yes.
and Bob?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm iPad, so I'm the All right, gentlemen, thanks so much. Charlie, thank you very much.
Very well.
Thank you.
Night,
We'll see you.
folks.
Good night, guys.
Thank